and obviously offer my condolences also to the entire Killebrew family. What I'd like to do by honoring Harm, and I say Harm because we never called each other by our nicknames. You know, I was Kitty, he was Killer. That's quite a contrast.
Kitty Killer.
But I was always Jim, and he was always Harm. But he signed a ball for me years ago, and it said, "Jim, remember the good old days, Harmon Killebrew." And his penmanship, as you know, was impeccable, just like you see on the wall there, and like he encourages you younger players to sign your name properly. He had such a neatness to it. But our good old days began in 1958 in Tinker Field in Orlando, Florida, which was the spring training home of the Washington Senators. For you younger fans, that's who we actually were before we became the Minnesota Twins. He was 21, I was 19. We didn't know each other that well. We'd say hi in the morning, pitchers go one way, here's the other. But Harm made his breakthrough in 1959. He tied for the league lead in home runs, hit 42 along with Rocky Colavito. And the legend was off and running. I shook his hand for the first time after a home run in August of 1959, having just been called up. He hit it off, and Henry, and Commissioner, you'll remember this name, old veteran Cal McClish. And in middle of '73, I shook his hand for the last time when he hit a home run as a member of the Twins. In between, I probably shook his hand on almost 500 of his 573 home runs. And you had to be careful. I'm glad I was a lefty pitcher, because if you stuck your hand in there and weren't careful, you'd get a pretty bone-crushing handshake. The thing I think that set Harmon apart from other home run hitters was the trajectory with which he hit his home runs. There were two hitters in the American League that you would stop and say, wow. And it was Mickey Mantle and Harmon. And with all due respect, what a thrill for me it is tonight to sit next to my favorite position player as a young kid, Mr. Henry Aaron. Nice. When the hammer hit him, he could flick those wrists, and he'd go out on the line. I saw one of those up close and personal when he's with the Milwaukee Brewers in 1975, and when I served one up to it. But the trajectory is what set Harm apart. And I thought what gave me a little insight as I look back on his career is why he was able to hit the ball so solidly. But when you look at some of the clips that you've seen there, his off-field demeanor, his calmness, carried over into the way he swung the bat. If you notice when Harm took his stance, and I'm sure a lot of you, when you were young kids, were in the backyard doing it, there wasn't a lot of excess movement. He got in the box, the bat was on his shoulder, the hands moved back, cheeks puffed out a little bit, and then he would do what our old teammate, the late Jim Lemon, would say, swing the bat like a hammer, not like a broom. And he swung it so much on balance. I never saw him lose his balance on a swing, that I think he was able to hit the center of the ball with the barrel of the bat so often that he had that effortless power. I don't know what kind of bat Henry used, but for a home run hitter, Harmon didn't use an exceptionally big club. It was S207, had a little thin handle, medium barrel. His hands seemed to just fit around it perfectly. And of all the home runs he hit, I know there are a lot of them that are memorable. You saw the one on Pete Mickelson when he hit that one with 2 out and 1 on just before the All-Star break. That kind of put the Yankees away and enabled us to win the pennant. But the most impressive one to me was the one he hit in the early 60s off Hall of Famer Jim Bunning. Harmon, unlike a lot of right-hand hitters, didn't mind when righties dropped down. And he's the first right-hand hitter in baseball history to hit it completely out of Tiger Stadium. I remember watching that from the first base dugout because it looked sort of like the space shuttle taken off. It was around, it became this little white dot. And when Harmon hit him, it wasn't like wow right off the bat. You had to wait. You kind of follow the the trajectory of the ball. And then you saw how far the ball went. I guess from and also from his trot was so characteristic. I have such an image of that, and I'm sure some of you do as well. He hit the ball, he admired it, he didn't show up in the picture, he'd take a couple slow steps, drop the bat quietly, take a brisk trot around the bases, would come to the dugout, the old men, and just before he got there, he'd kind of cock his head, tip his helmet, and he had the coolest move, because he would come down the steps, and in those days, we carried our soft cap in our back pocket. And he would take the soft cap out, unfold it, take the helmet off, and slide the soft cap on so fast, and I think he didn't want anybody to see his bald spot. But he had that cool move, and then he'd come down the road, we'd all shake hands with him. But he had that characteristic swing, and he had that characteristic trot, and he had that same calm demeanor, whether he was in the middle of a home run streak or whether he was struggling. I think the only really unique and humorous experience I had with Harm was one night in Baltimore. After a game, I decided to order room service from the Hotel Belvedere. And I said, what kind of ice cream do you have? And they said, chocolate and vanilla. I said, I'll take 2 chocolate, 1 vanilla. I figured they meant scoops. Well, they came up with 3 bowls. I said, what am I going to do? I got 9 scoops of ice cream. I think I'll call Harm. I called, his room was right down the road. I said, Harm, in the hall, I said, I got 9 scoops of ice cream here. I can't eat all of them. So I went down, and we probably rehashed the game that night. And in your 20s, you could put down 5 scoops of ice cream and not put on too much weight, and you wouldn't do it anymore. Those were happy days. I guess the saddest day for me, until last week, was when I found out that Harm was no longer a member of the Twins organization, that his playing career had ended. And I always had told him those last 2 years, I said, Harm, the Twins should do to you what Stan Musial, what the Cardinals did to Stan Musial. You should be a fixture there, like Henry Aaron has been with Milwaukee and Atlanta, Willie Stargell with Pittsburgh, George Brett became with Kansas City. And I want to thank Dave St. Peter, who led the way to bring Harmon back where he belonged, to be a part of the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah.
And I also want to thank Dave because he's the reason that a lot of the members of the Twins are here. He has really made us feel like we're part of the Twins family once again. And I want to close with just a quick story and a quote. And you probably heard the story in the last couple of weeks, but I heard it for the first time in 1984 when I went to Harm's Hall of Fame induction. He told the story of how his mother was upset because the boys were digging up the front lawn. He said to his dad, we can't grow any grass. The boys are digging it up. His dad said to his mother, we're not raising grass, we're raising boys. Dr. Samuel Johnson lived back in the 1700s. He said the true measure of a man is how he treats someone who can do him absolutely no good. The true measure of a man is how he treats someone who can do him absolutely no good. Does that sound like Harmon Killebrew? Mm-hmm. It didn't matter what your station in life was. He was going to treat you with politeness and respect. And I know, and I would urge you fans in the Midwest, whenever you think of the Minnesota Twins, think of Harmon Killebrew. He was, he is, and he always will be the face of this franchise. Maybe the most admired and respected athlete in Midwest sports history. I am so grateful that I was a part of his life and career for 16 seasons, his friend for over 50, and Harm, I can assure you, I will never forget